Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies. We're sisters who discuss all things related to work, family, and personal growth.
We draw inspiration from everywhere, especially from you, our listeners, to keep moving forward with joy and laughter in the big adventure that is life.
1 week at a time.
I'm Azizi Williams. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a mom of 2 adult children, and I'm an education professional in the independent school world. I'm here with my sister, Malika Amandi.
That's me. I'm a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a mom of 2 littles, and I work in higher ed.
In this episode, we'll recap our favorite moments from the Happier with Gretchen Rubin podcast and the Happier in Hollywood podcast hosted by Liz Craft and Sarah Fain.
But first, Azizi, I want to share, I don't know if it's a new way, but it's a new to me way to use the 5 senses journal that you gave me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're using
Yes.
it, Malika. When did I give that to you? Last year for Christmas? When was it?
Yeah, I think it was last
Okay.
Christmas. It wasn't that long ago.
Okay, well, I'm happy that you have cracked it open. What are you doing with it?
We have it on the dinner table now, and we're using it as thing to do at dinner time with Indigo to get a conversation going and then just keep a little family record of our 5 senses experiences for the day. So we kind of take turns asking each other, what's something that you saw today? Or what's something that you heard today? And then one of us takes notes of who said what. And it's fun. I mean, Indy, his responses are a little off the wall because he's
That's an abstract concept, senses.
but it's fun to just record them as he says them.
To document them.
Yeah, everything he was saying. I asked, so what did you see today? He said, I saw a big, 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 big duck. Okay.
Didn't know where that was gonna go.
To be fair, there are ducks in his classroom, so he probably did see a
They're
duck.
not in his classroom.
They were outside.
Outside. Okay, yes.
But then everything he saw or heard was preceded by 5 bigs. And then they started to get a little bit wonky. But this is great, it was fun.
You have to make sure that he has a turn to write and ask you questions also.
Yes.
Before he starts eating, hand him the journal and the pen and ask him to ask you.
Well, he does ask us.
Oh, he does.
We haven't given him the pen yet because
Try
okay.
it before he starts eating. And ask him to read you back something and see what happens.
Okay.
Well, it'll be interesting
try
no
it.
matter what. But it's good to model taking turns and,
Yes.
dictating.
Yes.
That's so sweet, Malika. I love that. What a good idea.
Hopefully we can keep it up and it'll be fun to look back at.
Absolutely. I can't remember if I talked about the story about going to Target that I wrote with Sinai when she was 4. Every night before bed, we would add to the story, and then she added some pictures to it, and I still have it, and it's hilarious. That was our life for a while.
That's funny. Azizi, what happened on Happier recently?
On Happier, episode 550, Gretchen and Liz dedicate the show to discussing what to do when there's something big that needs taken care of. On episode 551, they chat about questioning assumptions, and on More Happier, they share clips from their time together on a reading retreat.
So this episode, the very special episode about taking care of things, it was interesting. It was a very serious tone episode.
Yes, it was very somber.
It was somber, all about what's one big thing, not one big thing, but the one big thing that you need to do right now. And I felt like this episode could send this to somebody if you're trying to nudge them to take action on something.
In a very passive-aggressive way.
Yes.
You don't want to name it, and you just hope that they'll know
Just
what you
listen to this
mean.
episode.
When you
See what
send
comes
it.
up for you.
That's really funny. The questioner in me feels like you could have 3 really big things. Why 1? It might not be just one big thing. There might be many big things that you need to work on or that are, you
Well,
know,
that's okay. That doesn't contradict anything.
I guess it's just called the one big thing.
Semantics.
You could be a hot mess. You could have a lot that you need to
Right,
do.
but often you can only start with one thing
Right. And
first.
so then I think some kind of framework would be helpful to sort out the like how to prioritize the thing that you want to tackle first, or I don't know. I feel like there's room for a little more
Hmm.
around this concept, but I get it.
I think this could also be an episode that I listen to once a year just to see what comes to mind, because
Mm.
they just keep saying it, the one big thing. I feel like if there really is something that by the time you finish listening to the episode, you'll be like, "Yeah, okay, I gotta do this."
You'll be hypnotized
Yes.
too. That one thing deep in your subconscious will come out. I mean, there's something to that as you're doing all of your journaling, January 1, some kind of prompt around what is that thing you're not taking care of that you need to do. That could be helpful. I see that. I also loved, I think Liz said it, just indecision. Like if there's a decision that you need to make, just not deciding is also a choice that has an outcome.
Yes.
And that's always important to remember. Like you could say, I'm going to put it off or I'm not going to deal with it. And then that's a choice that's going to have its
Yeah.
own consequences. So that's important to remember for me also, as I tend to procrastinate about things.
I did like that they kind of shared some listener input about this, and there was one perspective that someone shared, which was like, it's helpful if you're gonna do a big shift, like quitting drinking or something, like, just
Right.
make the decision once,
Right.
and kind of having that resolve of like, "You know what? I've made this decision," is what gives me the strength to move forward down that path. And then somebody else said almost the exact opposite, which is like, I quit smoking, and the only way I could do it was knowing that I could make the decision every single day, or like that I didn't have to do it for the rest of my life. I just had to do it for today. And
Right.
so it's like almost the exact opposite perspective, but
Mm.
both of those could work depending on who you are and what you need. And it reminds me of the abstainer versus moderator mentality of like all or nothing or just a little bit sometimes. Like
Yeah.
they truly
Yeah.
do work for some people for, different
Yeah.
reasons.
What do you think you know what you are? Are you, "I'm living I just need to get through today," or are you like, "Never again am I gonna do this, and that's my decision forever?"
The funny thing is, I think I would like to be the make the decision once,
Yeah.
but in reality, with many things, my decisions evolve and shift with my life. But I think it makes
Right.
me feel good to say, like, I'm never eating sugar again. I'm gonna be keto forever. And then,
Right.
nope, that didn't happen.
Then something happened. Then
But I
something
really believed it
happened.
at the time, and that's fine. Like,
Yes.
that gives me some kind of energy around it for a while that's useful. And then when
Yeah.
it's not anymore, I don't have a hard time letting it go or being like, "Well, that wasn't true because 'cause I'm a book person."
Yes, you are.
Goes back to tree versus book.
I don't think this has to do with that. I
Okay.
think these are 2 different things that are blending together.
What about you?
I'm an abstainer. That works best for me. It doesn't always work,
I
but it
see.
definitely works better than I'm just making the
Yeah,
choice for today. I have to make it a part of my identity. Like, I am a person who does this,
right.
and so that is why I'm gonna do this now. Things can get in the way, but I think in my heart of hearts, I know that unless I just drop it, it's not
Mhm.
gonna work. Interesting. Well, in episode 551, they talked a lot about revisiting something that you had an assumption about, basically evaluating your assumptions. And I love this conversation because it's something that I think about all the time. We're always telling ourselves stories about something, and it's always healthy to revisit. And they talked about the spotlight effect or the perception that everyone is looking at you. And so I'm not going to do something because I'm going to be embarrassed because everybody's looking
Mhm.
at me, and I actually had an experience where I know that everyone was looking at me, and it wasn't the spotlight effect. I will share briefly because I'm on this Orange Theory journey, and I took a different Orange Theory class, like, I took it during a different time where it was very crowded, and I had previously always started on the floor, they call it, where you start with a row machine and then move to the weights. You give them a number that you want, and that's your station, and you have the same number station at all the different points. And so this time we were gonna be at the row, there was all these instructions that the coach was telling us to do. We had to get a medicine ball from one corner, bring it over to the row machine before we got on the row machine. And so I was sort of following along behind because I don't quite know where everything was. And I was like, okay, I'll just follow what everybody else does. I was the last one to get my medicine ball. I turn around and all the rows are
Oh,
taken.
no.
And I walk over to row 8 and there's somebody there. And I'm like, I chose 8. I said, I think there's a mix up. This is my row. And she said, no. And I said, "Okay." And so then I walked out of class while everyone has started rowing and doing all of their exercises. Outside, I have to talk to the receptionist. The receptionist, like, grabs her clipboard, comes all the way back inside, and then looks around and tells me, "Oh, you're supposed to start at the weights all the way on the other side of the gym where there's no one at station 8." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So then I have to walk all the way past the rows to put my medicine ball down and then go all the way to the far end of the weight and just try to jump in and do something, I don't know. That was very embarrassing, but you know what? I lived.
You
It
lived,
was okay. I got
and I'm
through
gonna
it.
challenge your narrative because you
Oh,
don't know that everybody was watching you.
they were though, because there's nothing else to look at. Like, it's
I mean, it
very
sounds like
dull.
it's hard to, like, keep it going to do the exercises, like, maybe people are just focusing on the
I'm not saying that
exercises.
they felt anything about watching me walk by.
They just
But
saw
they
you.
definitely saw me walk by because everyone was doing a thing except for me. I was the only one not doing the thing. And then I brought the receptionist in to help
Yeah,
me, and
that is a spectacle.
it's gonna be something. But the point is I survived.
You made
Am
it.
I going back? Yes, I'm gonna go back. I made it.
That's funny.
It was a funny story.
I like even what you're saying, like, your stories. What's the story that you're telling yourself? Like, I think having language like that to help you reveal assumptions is really powerful, like, whether it's stories or beliefs or narratives, just using those words kind of make you realize how much is subjective, what you're deciding versus what is a fact.
Right, and that there's a lot you don't know for sure, and I use the story I'm telling myself, and that's a prompt I got from Brené Brown, and in my meetings and my conversations with my husband, whatever, if there's something that I think particularly if I'm thinking it's a negative thing, I will say, "The story I'm telling myself is that she's not emailing me back because I said this silly thing."
Mhm.
And I know it's a story. I don't know actually why she's not emailing me back, but that's like the worst case scenario that is in my brain. And there's something also really nice about just saying it out loud because that
Yeah.
gives other people a chance not to reassure you, but to say, oh, actually, this is what I know, or this person does this thing sometimes. But I always know it's a story until I know for sure and they tell me, you know.
Do you feel like you've ever had kind of a major assumption that you broke through?
That's an interesting question. The thing that comes to mind is when I was wanting to go to graduate school, I kind of had a block. And I had gone through some difficult personal circumstances, and the thought about writing, an application inevitably asks you, "Who are you and why do you want this?"
Mhm.
I didn't really know how to start with that. I felt like I had some things that were unresolved that I needed to get through, or I realized I had some things that were unresolved that I needed to get through. And you actually told me that I think we've talked about this before, but you told me that I should take this writing class. And it was a class specifically for sharing your story, like writing a memoir for a one person play. Is that what they call it? Like
A solo
a
show?
solo show. I wasn't an actor, that wasn't my career, I didn't have an intention of doing that, but just the act of going through the process of writing down a story about what I had gone through and then sharing it with the other people in the room, where they objectively were just sharing with me their thoughts about how I can make that a better story or what was interesting about that story. It kind of gave me some space from it, and that process just helped me start to write about myself and what I want and where I had been and where I was going, and I kind of broke through that assumption I had about applying to graduate school. and then I went.
And then you did it.
Yeah, and then I did it. I think that stands out for me. What about you?
I think when I was in my actor life and really struggling financially, I think I've mentioned before I had a scholarship from the Actors Fund, which is now the Entertainment Community Fund. And a condition of that was that I had to do this career counseling service that they offered and take certain classes. And so in one of the career coaching sessions, we're trying to figure out what's a good part-time job for me because, I was really not making ends meet with the jobs that I had and was feeling really frustrated. And they had us do all these assessments and different things. And the counselor I was working with was really encouraging me to consider starting my own business. And I was just so against it. My assumption was that it would be too hard because I was already doing acting, which is very entrepreneurial. And so,
Mm,
how would I have the energy to do this twice? And that it would become like so distracting and take me out of my actor focus. And that just didn't make any sense, was my assumption. And she was kind of like, I don't think Trader Joe's is going to cut it for you. Like, you've got some other in my assessments, I had all these other ideals, about like
mm,
purpose and things that are just like not right for certain types of jobs, are not
right.
going to meet that need, right? Or that fulfill that part of who I am. But finally, she was just like, "You know what? Don't do it. Just look into it." I was
Mm,
like, "Oh." She's like, "Yeah, just talk to some people, you can
yeah,
maybe
just look into
brainstorm,
it.
but don't do
Yeah,
it. You don't have to
yeah.
do it. You're not gonna do it because it doesn't make sense for you, but just look into it so you're sure." And
Mm,
just kind of giving me that ramp changed it for me. I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do research on a thing, on an
right.
idea, like, fine, I'll do that." And then, of course, as I did that, it kind of became like, "Oh, yeah, definitely, I wanna do
So you just
this."
researched your way into it.
Exactly. It's a very sneaky trick.
That's a nice on-ramp.
But it was, I think with many things, if you take away the pressure to do it, like if it's a marathon or something, like you don't have to run the
Right.
marathon.
Yeah.
Just see what it's like to start a training program or just see what it feels like.
It's like saying it's a pilot. It's just gonna be a pilot.
Exactly,
You're just testing it
exactly.
out, and then you'll see. I love that.
Yeah. But I did have a lot of assumptions that were not true. And it turned out that, yes, it was another entrepreneurial thing, but because I was already doing that in my acting work, I actually had the skills to do it in
Mm,
another context. That was actually less of a kind of drain than doing something completely unrelated.
mhm.
So,
It's interesting because I don't think I'm a person who has assumptions or beliefs that hold me back. I don't think I am. And of course, that could be a blind spot that I have. And
I
like
know it's easy.
someone else could say, of course, you don't know you have. But I really do believe that I could do anything I want to if I work hard enough and try. It doesn't mean that everything's going to make me happy. And maybe I have assumptions about what I think it is that will make me happy. But
Mhm.
I do believe that there's not very many things that I can't do. Like, look, I'm not one of those people that's like, "Yes, I can fly a plane." Of course I can't fly a plane. That's ridiculous. I can't fly a plane. However, if I wanted to, and then I rolled in some pilot training, I could get there, but I don't want to. So, I do believe that I don't have as many inhibitions as people may have about things like that, but I could be wrong. Point them out to me, Malika.
I mean, I would agree with you on that level, but I think this conversation about assumptions is broader than just your own abilities.
Right.
I think it's about anything,
Hmm.
like how you'll be received in a moment, or if something will be effective that you are putting out in the world, or if people like our podcast, or I don't know. Like,
But of course, not everybody does. Some people do and some people don't, and that's okay,
right, but I'm just
right?
saying that the assumptions could be about anything. It's not just about whether or
Sure.
not you can be successful in one endeavor.
Yeah, I could have an assumption about a cuisine or something, like, I don't like eggplant, and I assume that every eggplant I come across, I'm not going to enjoy. that might not be true. That's
There
an
you
assumption
go.
I'm making.
Yeah.
Gretchen, in her empty nest phase, just threw out a question, just threw it out to the whole world, asking about how often should parents communicate with their children who are out of the nest, who are away from home, and what's the right cadence. And I feel like every 2 weeks is the right cadence, but for me, it's more about responsiveness than proactivity. I have no
Mm,
expectations that my children are going to reach out to me because they are busy and they're children and they're in their own world, and I don't need them to need me like that. I want them to have their own life. But if I need to check in, then I need to know that they're going to get back to me. That's very important. In exchange for that responsiveness, I don't call them every day. I don't
mhm.
try to hear from them all the time because then I think it's me. I'm being needy and wanting to know about their day. And that's not my business anymore. Now it's their life. And I think it's just kind to check in with each other and to check in on each other and to respond when somebody reaches out, but I don't need it that often.
How often did you communicate with our parents when you were in college?
Probably once a month. Like, not very much. But the thing is, it was a different time. Like,
Was it?
there were still payphones, there were cell phones. I probably had one, but our culture around them wasn't as strong as it is. There were no smartphones. There was no
That's
texting.
true.
It was the olden days. Things were
Okay.
simpler then, and when you were gone, Till Thanksgiving. I don't think I communicate that often, and that could just be me. I could be not the norm when it comes to these kinds of things.
That's funny. Well, with that 2 weeks, what happens when they
I
graduate?
have no idea. Ask me
Okay.
then. That's a whole other world. How often do you reach out to mommy and daddy?
Well, it was on my
You're out of the house now.
list to do the weekly connections and stuff, and
How's that going?
it's going well. You started a family Marco Polo thread, which has been quite fun
It is fun. Yeah, it's a new way of everybody connecting with each other.
with your college children on it. They've both
Yeah.
done, like, 2.
Yeah, they're not very engaged on it.
I realize
Case in point.
we always do it at dinner, and I'm like Norm's like, "Maybe we should wait to let someone else respond next." So it's not just us sending polos because we have, in a certain way, like, just time, like, engagement.
Yes.
We need this content at dinner time, we can
But
keep
also you
putting
have
it
the
out.
cute son, like, and the
That's
baby.
true. That's
Everyone
true.
wants to see that. No one's gonna get tired of seeing Indigo and Quincy.
We did, I think, 2 or 3 in a row and felt self-conscious, so
I thought about it when I was at the mall today by myself. But then I was like, I don't know who wants to see the hot dog on a
Oh,
stick. Like, I'm not sure that's worthy of
see,
poloing.
that's an
What
assumption,
is worthy of a
Azizi,
polo?
that we wouldn't be interested in your hot dog on a stick.
That was not the right assumption to
No, I
make?
wanna see that. I miss those
Oh,
hot dogs on a stick. They don't have them out
you
here.
don't have them out there?
No.
Really? Oh, wow, and I had the Korean one. Oh, those are yummy. Malika, I had a chicken fried corn dog. It was a corn dog that had bits of fried chicken on
Wow.
it. That's a whole other we digress, but yes, the video polo is fun, so I'll add more and I'll nudge my daughters, but they're in college,
No, they
so
gotta do their own thing. They're in or they're
they're
not,
in or they're
but
not. Yeah.
we can do it.
Yes, yes, yes. At the end of this episode, they were discussing Liz's alarm clock solution for Jack because she was just discussing how happy she is that he's doing a good job of getting up in the morning. And it reminded me of when I first started living with Grayson and we slept in the same room and he had to get up for work and his alarm sounds like a nuclear meltdown alarm. It was like, "Wah, wah." It was like the worst noise you could ever imagine. And I woke up like, oh, like something's on fire. What's happening? And that is just how he woke up every single day with this nuclear alarm sound. And I said, Grayson, there are like 100 other alarm options on your phone. So why would you wanna wake up that way? And he was like, "Oh," like he had never really considered it before, so that was one and done.
So he changed it after that?
He did. He changed it to a much nicer, mellower, and guess what? He still gets up, it's fine. It just, like, blew my mind why that's even an option. Why would anybody wanna wake up to that kind of sound?
That's funny.
Awful.
All right, let's take a break. And when we get back, we'll discuss Happier in Hollywood. Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready to go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the Prep Dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously, zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
Malika, what happened on Happier in Hollywood?
On episode 434, Liz and Sarah talk about their position on AI and share listener responses to Liz's GLP-1 journey. On episode 435, they share the challenges of doing a pitch, and then they express frustration with printers. They also share an inspiring story about a listener and mahjong.
I really appreciate how open Liz has been about her journey with GLP-1s, and actually I started talking to my doctor about it because I'm in this sexy back phase of my life. That's a part of the empty nest journey, it turns out for me, and I was curious, so I went to talk to my doctor about it. And it's not, for me, a slam dunk. I have a
Hmm.
lot of questions about if it's something I wanna pursue based on some of the side effects and things like that. Like, I really, really like food, and I don't
Yeah.
wanna not like food. That's a big part of my life. I'm grappling with that a little bit, but I'm still exploring it. The interesting thing, though, is it led me to a sleep study. She recommended that I go see a doctor that specializes in sleep studies to understand if you have sleep apnea or, other aspects to your sleep. And
Mhm.
so I'm curious about
Well,
that,
everybody can get behind sleep. There's no controversy there.
right? And my sleep is not great. So we've discussed that often. And so when I went to talk to the doctor, there's this whole checklist of things. And one of the things, I don't think I've talked about this on the show before, but I suffer from sleep paralysis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like when your brain is alert, but you can't move your body.
Yeah.
And it's this weird sensation. It's a little bit scary because it feels like in your brain, you're thinking you're never going to be able to
Right.
move. And then when you finally do, it's like kind of panicky. I don't like it. I manage it and I figured out ways kind of around it. But that was one of the questions
Mm.
on the form. And I'm like, oh, they're going to give me some
Mhm.
answers. Like, it took me a long time to figure out what this was, and then when I realized it had a name, and now I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait to talk to a doctor
Hmm.
about it." But they gave me the option of either going into the lab to
Mhm.
sleep or fitting me with a machine, and then I go home and I sleep with the machine. So, like, before bed, I'm gonna go to this office, and they're gonna put something on me, and then I'm gonna go home and go to bed.
It's funny because it feels like, and actually, I think Gretchen has talked about this. There's a phenomena about like when you're in a new place for one night that you don't get any sleep.
Yeah, that's me 100%, and that's what I told the doctor. I'm not gonna sleep
Yeah,
in a room of people, like in the hospital. I'm definitely not gonna sleep there. And so I have a better chance. But at the same time, I was like, "Oh man, I bet it would be a more thorough study, like,
sure.
if it was
Yeah,
in the controlled environment." So I wanna get the most out of this study that I possibly
yeah.
can. Oh, well.
Interesting. I didn't know you suffered from sleep
I can't believe we
paralysis.
haven't talked about this before.
We haven't. I've had that feeling before.
Oh, you
It's
have?
happened to me, like, usually if I take a nap or something,
Yes,
it's not
yes.
in my regular nighttime sleep, but I haven't had it in a while.
It happens to me maybe it's less now, so maybe it's like, I don't know, 10 times a year.
Hmm.
But if I sleep in, so if it's light outside
Yeah.
and then I'm dozing in and out, or if I'm trying to stay awake, like on the other end, it's weird. It's weird. So it's interesting that you have it too, and that it's a thing that they want to know about when
Yeah.
you are there. But then there are all kinds of scary questions like, do you fall asleep in mid conversation or while driving? Or like, oh,
Mm.
wow,
Yeah.
these are serious questions. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
They also talked about the way that they use AI in a very specific way when they're creating pitches to find images, and talked about bigger themes and implications around using AI. And I guess the Writers Guild did a survey or something to understand how people are using it. And I realized I just have so many thoughts about AI,
Hmm.
deep thoughts.
Wow.
Maybe we can do a segment about it to check in on your week of
We can call
AI.
it deep thoughts about
Deep
AI.
thoughts about AI. We've talked about it on the show before that I'm pretty much into using it and exploring it for anything and everything that I think it could be useful for. Like, I haven't exercised very much restraint, and Norm has kind of gotten me into it, and it's been fun to troubleshoot things and get quick answers for things that you're wondering about.
I think
I don't know.
you as a family are the most AI forward family I know. There is not another family who's using AI the way that you guys are, and I think you should write about it or talk about it or I don't know what. But next level AI use with Norm and then with you, and I think it's pretty inspiring because it's all the good things about it, you know? In episode 435, Liz and Sarah shared that very inspiring letter from a listener who, because of Liz talking about Mahjong, went on this whole Mahjong journey for like years and years that is leading to her developing a Mahjong game and an app and a new way of practicing and pretty inspirational.
Yeah, it's just cool because she had literally never played mahjong, but she heard Liz talk about it on a episode years and years ago, and then that led her to learn it, and she brought it to her church group, and she became an instructor. She created an institute in her town, and she kind of disclosed that she was in her 60s, and this is like the anti-limiting beliefs or
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
assumptions you can't do anything.
Mhm. She created community. I love that. Just
Yeah.
like raising your hand and inviting people in. So beautiful.
Have you ever played mahjong?
I've never played mahjong, and now it is really gonna be on my 26 for 26
Okay.
list because I am so mahjong curious. I think I need this app and this game and this way of practicing solo because there's gonna be a lot of solo mahjong in the next year. And there's this scene in Crazy Rich Asians. It's like at the end of the movie when the protagonist is like telling off the boyfriend's mom and she's doing it while in this huge room with all these people playing mahjong. And she's like so good at it and she wins and everybody's like, wow. And I want to be that person. Or I don't know if I want to be that person, but it also just sounds very
Hmm.
satisfying. You
The
hear all the
tiles.
clicking of the tiles, and I like that sound. So I think I just want a set.
Dominoes make that sound too.
Doesn't seem as satisfying. I think the mahjong tiles are bigger. Do you wanna play mahjong?
I don't know. I'm curious. It does seem like a cool world, and I don't know, does it fit into the category of games like bridge? or Bidwiz. Those are card games,
I
but,
have
like,
no idea.
maybe I'm thinking of just, like, four-person. I don't know. I think mahjong is on a different level, so there might not be, like, a game to compare it to that's in the Western.
Yeah. Well, I do know if you do decide to learn to play it, you will beat me because you are really good at all the games. So maybe it's better that you don't.
That's
Just give me
funny.
a few years before you jump in
Okay.
because you will absolutely beat me if you learn at the same time.
It feels like a good empty nest game.
Exactly.
I'll let you have mahjong.
Thank you. Just for a few years, and then you can jump in on it. Maybe I'll teach you.
Yeah.
2028. So in this episode, Liz and Sarah were complaining about evil printers,
Mhm.
and we've all been here. We've all had printer pain. But these days, what are we printing? Like, what are we even printing these days? I have a
I
printer.
don't
It has
know.
not seen very much action in a long time. What was the last thing you printed?
Let's see. We printed. Oh, I had to print some forms for my maternity leave. That
Right.
was annoying.
Then it's annoying,
It's
right?
always
Like,
annoying,
why do I
yeah,
have to do
like,
this?
there's so much I've tried to do on the phone or through, like, Adobe or something, and then occasionally it's like, you just have to print it out
Yeah,
and take a picture, usually,
take a
to
picture.
send.
You're not using a fax
No.
machine. You're not using your printer to send anything. I think the only time I have to use it is when there is that annoying form that has to be signed and emailed, and then
Yeah,
you take a picture, exactly, but that's not very often. Mostly, I'm turning things into PDFs, and they're going
yeah,
straight to GoodNotes, and I can just write on them or read them right there. There's not much paper in my life right now, which I feel good
yeah.
about. Grayson will print a recipe.
Who
That's where
prints
he's at.
recipe?
He prints recipes, they're in the kitchen, they're all over the place.
I could see for writing, for editing, sometimes if I'm reading, like, a personal statement or something. I don't know, even with that, I'm pretty comfortable with Google Docs, like, editing
Yeah,
wise.
commenting and
Right,
suggesting.
but sometimes it is helpful to have, certainly for scripts and learning scripts, if
Yeah,
I'm in my actor whatever, I want it on
right.
paper.
Yeah, occasionally for the parent directory, I have the list of names and I have that on paper because it's actually faster to just whip that out. It's in my iPad case and look at it
Yeah.
than it is pulling it up. So there are occasionally some things that I need to just have my eyes on right away.
How's your little printer doing?
It's so cute.
Do you
Thanks for
use it?
asking, Malika. It's next to my bed. It's like I do use it. I do use it. I use it kind of in spurts, like maybe once a month or once actually, like, once a season, I'll print out some photos and put them in my journal that make me happy. I haven't run out of the paper yet. I don't
That's
know what I'm gonna
good.
do when that happens.
You use it just for photos?
I just use it for
Okay.
photos. Yeah, I haven't found another practical use for it yet. It is small, but if you wanted to print out a tiny document,
Yeah.
anything from your phone, you could print it out, you could have that, but it would be small.
Fun.
Haven't figured out the use for that yet.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will discuss our peaks and valleys.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back with peaks and valleys because in life there are always peaks and there are always valleys. This is an odd episode, so Malika is up first with a peak.
So my peak is Quincy, baby Quincy. He's so sweet. He's 2.5 months now. And before he was born, people would always say to me, "Oh, enjoy the baby." Or even in the first couple weeks, I would hear that a lot from, like,
Yes.
coworkers or, I don't know, well-wishers. Kind of like, "Okay, thanks. I'll enjoy the baby."
Right.
I don't know why I couldn't really receive that. I think because my memory of Indigo as a baby, he was a great baby, but, like, I think just being a new parent, I had a lot of anxiety, and
Yes.
there were sweet moments, of course, but a lot of what I remember was, like, feeling stressed out and, like, "Is he okay? Is he why does he" "What's that
Mm.
dot on his head?" Just a different vibe. But I think now, second
Mhm.
time around, and also just, like, the contrast of the toddler versus the newborn, like, Quincy is such a
Are you, like,
respite,
leaning into the
so
baby?
much. He's, like, so easy, like, yes, he cries, and there's little things, but his needs are very simple, and there's no
Yeah.
negotiating, like, you feed him or you burp him, you change the diaper, no opinions, and it's just like I mean, not just that adds to it, but also he's just so cute and, like, makes these
Aw.
little baby sounds, and so now I feel like, "Oh, I'm enjoying the baby," like, what everybody said, I get it, and I think it's funny, everybody just wants to hold the baby, like, people want
Of course
to
they
touch it and be
do.
close to a baby because it is such a special, different thing, and then they change. So, I'm trying
How many
to
months is he now?
2.5 months.
Oh,
The peak is just, like, I'm enjoying the baby.
peak baby.
What's your valley?
My valley is a very small annoyance. Every time I turn on my computer, there are, like, 10 different windows
Mm.
that pop up, and it's not a big deal. It takes, like, 30 seconds to close them all. But I do this like 5 times a day. Every time I turn on my computer, there's, like, the Apple ad and, like, this app that I once used and I don't, and then this thing. I don't know how to make it stop, and I haven't looked into it. It just keeps happening. I'm like, "Okay, this is maybe something that's worth exploring in the settings, why every time I turn on my computer, I'm inundated with."
Ask ChatGPT.
Oh, alright.
Give you the
I was gonna
answer.
ask you. You're my AV person. You're tech support.
I'll ask
What's wrong?
ChatGPT and let you know.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need to know how you came up with the answers. Every time I have a tech problem, I ask you and you help me.
That's funny that I'm your tech person. In our house, I'm not the tech person.
Right. Listen, you're the best tech person I have access to in the moment, so you have to go with who you have access to.
That's funny. It does sound annoying.
Does that happen to you?
There are some windows that pop up that I don't want, and I just haven't dealt with
Right?
them.
I have like 8.
I don't have that many, but
It's like window after window after window
yeah.
keeps opening. I don't want them. I don't want them. Gotta figure that out
All right. Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Well, that brings us to the end. Zizi, let's leave on a happier thought. What are you going to try this week?
I'm gonna write mahjong. I'm gonna figure out how to spell it, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna write it down on my list for 26 for 26. Maybe I'll look into the app. Malika, what about you?
I think, I don't know. There was something we talked about at the beginning.
Okay.
What was it?
Way back at the beginning.
I'm going to try to go to sleep.
Talked about the
I'm
5
going to go to
senses
bed. That's what
journal.
I'm going to do.
You're gonna go to bed. That sounds like a good thing
Oh,
to
oh,
do.
oh. It was with the Five Senses Journal. I'm going to ask Indigo to write notes and see what happens.
Yes.
He
Yes.
might say, I don't write.
Of course he does. You just all you need is a pencil and you're writing.
We'll see. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. You can find our show notes in the episode description. If you like us, please rate, review, and tell a friend, and don't forget to follow us.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com.
Our show was edited by Magnus Bjorgum, and our theme music was created by Wyatt Muncie.
You can find us on Instagram at happierladies and on the web at happierladies.com. All right, Malika, have a happier week.
Have a happier week, Azizi.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think there are other implications or bigger picture
Absolutely.
things,
Yeah.
but the thing we're working on right now is
Well, do you wanna talk about it or not talk about it?
okay. I guess I do, but
Let's
we'll
save
save
it.
it.
Let's save it. We'll have a whole segment where we can talk about what's happening in our AI worlds.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.